Welcome back to Popes and Pylons. Let's talk a little bit about the new patch in Europa Universalis IV 1.27. The Poland update just came out, and I just thought we'd go through the patch notes together. I've highlighted some points that I want to discuss, and then we can check out in-game what that actually means. This is just a startup game that I've modified a tiny bit, cheated around with the console, so we can look at most of the things I want to talk about. But let's start by having a look at those patch notes. I just copied them into Notepad here, and we're just gonna start from the top and talk about them, then jump into the game as appropriate. Now, the whole patch log begins with a section on free features. This is not actually quite true, because as you can see, there are a bunch of features in here that say Dharma. And Dharma is not free. But yes, the whole patch is free. There are just some things in there that only apply when you have the specific DLC installed. So let's just go from the top. I mean, the whole update is about Poland, which, so let's not go about the top. Let's just jump into the game right here and have a look. Wait, that looks dumb. Let's do this. There have been, if you know the Polish area, and I mean, I noticed some things. I'm not 100% sure which of these provinces are new, but I know that some of these are new. These used to be bigger provinces, and they got split into smaller ones. Some changes to the borders in here and stuff, and I believe a bunch of ideas and events, and we're going to have a look at that in a bit. So let's just look into that. First, we have new mission trees for Poland, Lithuania, the Romanian group, and the Tatar hordes. So let's just have a look at those. Poland and Lithuania, and then Romanian groups and the Tatar hordes. Jump back over to the game, and let's see here. Poland is Pole, so what we can do, and this is just me cheating around with the console. We're going to tag over to Poland. And now we're playing as Poland. And we can have a look at our mission tree. Here we go. So what is there to do? I mean, this is seems to be a fully created mission tree, beginning with what do we have to do here? Conquer West Prussia, right? Owned by Poles in West Prussia. All of the farmers be true. Support the Prussian Confederation. So that's an event that you have to make the right choice in, I suppose. Danzig has to exist and be at peace and not be a subject nation. So you actually make a state here, apparently, through the Polish events. That's very interesting and new. That goes into reclaiming Prussia, which is basically just own a bunch of Prussian land, sure. Defeat the Knights. We have all of East Prussia owned. So more expansion missions over here. So one thing that is based on events and days, and then just a bunch of conquer missions, build to force element, expand. These are pretty much the standard neutral mission tree ones here, up down to unite home region, reincorporate Mazovia. So I assume Mazovia is a subject of us at this moment. Yes. No, vassal. We're supposed to integrate them. This is reincorporate Mazovia, own all the Commonwealth land, apparently. We gain the restoration of the Union Casus on Hungary. So this is not the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, but this is actually a target on Hungary and forcing them into a union. That's very interesting. Conquer Silesia, and then Bohemian Union requires us to own the whole Bohemian region. Interesting. And we get a bunch of stuff for that. These are, again, normal standard mission trees here. And then break the Rus. No independent country with East Slavic culture and the capital in the Russia region has one or more total development. Okay. So essentially break, well, the Rus. Mostly Novgorod apparently needs to be broken down here. Or I assume that's going to be Muscovy in most times. And you see here, there's a giant great horde here, Mongol Empire. I created that to show off some things later on. So this part of the map is no longer start accurate, of course. But we can still see, okay, we have to break the Novgorod area up for this. Embrace Renaissance and be fine. And then build some things. Okay, these are just expand certain places, deal with the something. Okay, grab a bunch of absolutism, so this can only be done relatively late. And then invest in Eastern Poland, build up manufactory and centers of trade. And what's this down here? All provinces in Bulgaria are area owned by us. All right. And so all of the missions mostly about gigantic expansion over here. So if you like blobbing and you like expanding and you like playing in the new area, then Poland seems interesting. This beginning with the Danzig event, I'm really interested to see that actually play out. All right, that's Poland. That's missions. Did they say they got new ideas too? Let's check. Not that I know what the old Polish ideas would have been. Let's just go ahead and check. No, it just says mission trees. It does not say new ideas. There might have been fixes in there still, but that's so that's Poland. Let's go have a look at Lithuania, shall we? So now we're playing as Lithuania here. And what are our missions? We are the same thing as Poland here. We have a bunch of neutral missions in the center, and then the right and the left are different. And you see that in a lot of countries. They basically have a lot of the neutral ones and then just a few ones added for flavor. Develop Lithuania. Okay, let's just build stuff up. Reduce unity in the Age of Reformation. Not in the Age of... So we need to make it through the Age of Reformation and have 1% unity. Restore Kiev, build a center of trade, slug sashes, counting house, textile manufactory. Okay. That's just economic build-up. And over here we have to befriend the Cossacks. Own a bunch of stuff, have low unrest, low autonomy there. Befriend the Cossacks. Oh no, we have to do befriend then. Conquer Crimea, okay, that makes sense. Just more expansion, Polish succession. One of the following must be true. Is the rival of Poland. Poland is the rival of Lithuania. Allied with Poland, or Poland does not exist, and we must not be a subject. So we need to get out of the whole Commonwealth thing, or at least of the Union. Conquer Lithuania. I thought Livonia, sorry. Okay, expand up there. Secure Novgorod. Let's expand over there. Enforce the Commonwealth. Okay, it's probably having the Commonwealth on our side. Is Commonwealth... Poland is our subject, yes. So this is usually Poland has Lithuania as a subject, and you need to you can then form the Commonwealth with Poland, and this way it's the other way around. You play as Lithuania, you get out of the Union, and then you get in and enforce Poland as your junior partner in the Union, and then form the Commonwealth. And build universities, and Union over Muscovy, interesting. Do we get... Yeah, there's a bunch of claims on Muscovy, and then we have to take all this land. That's not too much land. Okay. Still with an expansion focus, but including the whole idea of breaking free from Poland and then taking them over. All right, not too shabby. Then the whole Romanian group, and I think that's mostly Moldavia and Wallachia here, got new quests. So let's go into, say, Wallachia and see what they have to offer. Same thing, neutral missions in the center. Order of the Dragon. So we need to ally one of many people. Okay, so find some friends. Do we start out as a subject? We do not. Ally to Byzantium. Now that's scary. So let's go back to our ideas. So just ally some people. That's easy. Impale the Sultan. All right. So we need to control Edirne. We don't need to own it. We need to control it. So Edirne is an Ottoman thing. Well, right now it's Mongol, but it's usually an Ottoman province over here, and we need to control it. So we need to go to war with the Ottomans, control Edirne, and then we get to impale the Sultan. And it doesn't say much, does it? What is it? We gain claims. But it also actually does kill the owner of the ruler of the Ottomans, as far as I know. Drive out the Turks. Okay, more anti-Ottoman things. Well, we need to own the Macedonia, Thrace, and Bulgaria areas. So stuff down here, and then heir of Rome, northern Greece, and Morea down here. All right. And then on the other side, what do we have here? We have own Moldavia. Okay, our neighbors found Bucharest, which we need to own Georgiou, which is down here. And have no devastation, no unrest, and church in a workshop, essentially. Okay. Conquer Transylvania, more expansion into Hungary this time. Fortify Romania. Build 4 level 4 forts in our country. And what does this do? Appoint Dragatory. Need to have specific advisors hired. Level 2 advisors. And no loans. And what do we get for it? Another advisor. And reduced advisor cost. Alright. This doesn't seem super interesting. I mean, the anti-Ottoman part is fun. It's like, okay, you have this mean big neighbor. And I mean, we can just restore the Ottomans here. Why don't we just do that? Tag MGE without the accent. And then we say release. But just releasing as subjects at the moment, but that's fine for all of these purposes. If I could find Ottomans easily, which I can. There they were. I saw them. There you are. There. So that should be Ottomans at the start of the game, more or less. And we see that Wallachia and Moldavia, who should share these ideas, I believe. Let's find that out. Tag Mol and check it out. What do we have here in the ideas? Yes, all of the dragon. This is the same. This is essentially the same. Yeah, that's the same ideas. So either as Moldavia or as Wallachia. Very interesting start, I guess. With that big mean neighbor and the task to, well, take their land. And you have the Polish-Lithuanian thing up top too. All right, so let's jump back to our patch notes. Tatar hordes. Okay, one more set of mission trees. Let's check that out. Similar bunch of neutral missions here, but not as many as with the others. There's more individual stuff here. Unite the Tatars, own a bunch of Tatar land, Nogai, Astrakhan, Sarai. So basically take all the hordes out. That's a lot, I must say. Well, not all the hordes, but all this region here, essentially. Can I click it? Here. Here, here, here. Okay, it's not that insane, depending on how you start. If you start as the Great Horde, I think this part is relatively easy, or Crimea, maybe. Nah, Crimea is here. Yeah, probably the Great Horde is the easiest for this. Although... this province here, what are you? Let's turn off that console. Kazan. Yeah, it's fine. It's a bunch of people you have to fight anyway. So unite the Tatars, giving you a bunch of claims. Cross the Caucasus. Is just grab stuff down there in Georgia, Shirvan, that stuff. Restore the Ilkhanate. That's conquering Persia, I assume. Yep. Grab a bunch of Persian land. Restoration of the Ilkhanate happens. I think you can actually form the Ilkhanate now. That is a set of ideas that they listed, that are new ideas. I will not, I think, be able to check that out. We could try if we wanted to. Secure the Silk Road. Just be strong trade power down here in Persia and Samarkand. Alright, and then subjugate the Kazakhs. More conquering stuff. Claim Samarkand. More conquering stuff. Dominate Central Asia. Yep. More of that. And Khan of Khans owns Karakorum. Okay, so over to Mongolia. And invade China. Alright, so if you want to do a blobbing thing like we did with Mongolia, with any of the Tatar hordes, then this mission tree is for you. And you even have Subjugate Ryazan over here, which is more of that kind of expansion into Muscovite territory. Well, neighbors of Muscovite. And this is, yeah, this is actual Muscovy. So northern expansion, southern expansion, eastern expansion, all in here. Ruin Ruthenia, though. Crimean expansion is just grab Crimea. Okay, and Ruin Ruthenia is more. Okay, it's all just expand, 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 expand. And then some standard mission trees here. Alright, so if you would just want to continue expanding, grab a Tatar horde and go. And burn everything down on the way, because that's how we roll. Alright, if we now go back to our things, I think that's it for the new mission trees. We have a new unique government for Venice and a new lottery election mechanic. I don't want to talk too long about that, but we can have a quick look at it. If we become Venice, I assume it's VN. Yes. So we're now Venice, and we have apparently a unique government. Venetian government, what does it do? Republic mechanics, elections only when ruler dies, election by lottery, there we go. So that, I believe, is, you can choose to, if I read that correctly, you can choose to hire, still elect somebody from a specific group, or you can just have a lottery and just randomly get an admin diplo or military advisor, and then not actually pay Republican tradition for that, I believe. Or you can re-elect your own ruler and then otherwise randomly elect one. I think that's how that works. Can create trading cities, trade leagues, all that. So it's a merchant republic with some extra features. And then it has actual, I think some extra government reforms, it said, right? Sortition enables lottery, so we can't have lottery without sortition enabled on level 3 here. Election only go when ruler dies, election by lottery. Interesting. It's interesting to me that it says here that that's part of the Venetian government already, right? It is. But it's only enabled when you do sortition. Okay. So you can do different sorts of election. That's interesting, I guess. And bureaucratic, blah, blah. Apparatus and appointment by committee government. I have no idea how that's going to work. It's going to be interesting. So a bunch of changes to Venice in particular and republics in general. Bunch of new event chains, Prussian Confederation, Roman of Moldavia. These are all Polish or surrounding areas, so the main area for this patch. Bunch of event chains. One of them is certainly the one with Danzig that we saw. From the Iconate, we saw that. Yes, we have the Great Mongol State Government. That's why I created this giant Mongol Empire. So we can now form the Mongol Empire, which I don't think existed before. You could have formed the Golden Horde before, but not the Mongol Empire. And has a specific government that I think the biggest change is actually what they say here, allowing banners in primary culture provinces. So if you have Mandate of Heaven, and now we can just jump back into our game here, and become the Mongol Empire once again. Game G. We can see that we have a government. Where's that government? Here. There we go. We are the Great Mongol State. And I think the only thing that's really different here from a normal horde, I believe, is the allows Manchu banners part. So we should now be able to raise banners from our states. I think I don't have many states right now, but I made some somewhere over here. There we go. I can now raise bannermen here in the state, gain some corruption, and instantly gain a unit that will then have to refill its troop though, with 10% bonus discipline. So banners are very strong. So you know this if you played as Manchu culture, but you can now also raise banners as the Mongol Empire if you do form that empire. And so Great Mongol State. So it comes a bit late for our Mongol Let's Play, but that sounds fun. New government reform for Indian nations with the Marathas estate and the Rajput estate. Comes a bit late for our playthrough, but maybe we're going to play in the next Indian playthrough. See these new government reforms in action. This one gives 5% discipline to Rajput regiments, and this one gives a general instead of advisor, and still gives plus 5% discipline if you do have the Marathas. That's quite nice. And then there are a bunch of balance changes. I'm not going to grab all of these. There are changes to tariffs. Sure, some changes to how much money actually is made from tariffs. It feels like that is a reduction in tariff income, but I don't actually know. Bunch of changes to how government reform works. I think they saw well, some need for change after Dama released. If you do seize executive power as a reform, you lose 7 reforms. That's pretty much all of your reforms, I suppose. Same here if you do proclaim divine guidance. So these are specific drastic shifts in government. So you're completely switching government. So if we just go back into our game and have a look at our government. So these are the normal reforms. Once I've done all my normal reforms, I can reform to, say, a monarchy or a republic or something like this. And I assume that the C's one, we may become Venice here, maybe. Tag Venice. Maybe it's different here. Okay, so we see already this as the Serene Republic here, we have a lot more tiers of reform. And yes, there sees executive power that allows you to switch to a kingdom, and proclaim divine guidance, which allows you to switch to a theocracy. And they've just increased the amount of government reforms you lose when you do these. I don't know if that's just because there are so many more reforms for a republic like Venice, and then you also need to lose more, or whether this is because this is supposed to be such a drastic change from a republic to a kingdom that's just reflected in that. Probably the latter. So you work all your way through here, you take all the reforms, and then you switch, and we can just do that here, I think. I have somewhere, there is a command there. I can just grab my 10,000 reform progress here. And then we can just go and grab randomly all of these things. So I'm just making my way. Of course, this is going to take super long in game time. I'm just cheating to get around it. And then we can decide to, we'd rather want to be a kingdom, seize executive power, and bam, we lost all but the first reform here. I think that's how that works. At least we lost 8 reforms. I don't know why. Wasn't it like the 10th and there was like none left there? But so you switch and you lose a lot of these reforms, and they increased that. All right. Let's go back to our notes here. What else do we have? We have becoming a republic is easier. So it's hard to switch out of being a republic. It's much easier to become a republic. So you used to lose 6 reforms. Now you lose 3. All right. These are some changes to tribal reforms that I don't want to go into in detail. Change to how Rajput regiments works. They used to have 5% discipline and the drill decay reduction. Now they have 5% morale and reinforced cost reduction. Reinforced cost is kind of interesting because what we did in our Dharma campaign and our Mewar campaign was to mostly just consolidate our Rajput regiments and then ask for new ones from the estate. At 50% less reinforced cost, maybe it's more interesting to keep them around. Although it still costs manpower, so I don't know how worthwhile that's going to be. And then a bunch of other things here, a bunch of changes to the Pope and how the papacy government works, prestige changes there. You're going to have to check into that when you're playing as the Pope. We haven't looked at how it was set up in the beginning, so we don't really know what these changes mean. Minus 5% tech cost, for example, sounds nice. Multi-tech cost, more army tradition from battle, but no longer 5% discipline. Okay, that seems pretty harsh. While 5% multi-tech cost reduction is certainly nice, and the army tradition is very helpful, losing the 5% discipline option, maybe the Pope was just too strong with those options, or the troops were too strong. Maybe. This is a big change. It's kind of hidden in here, but religious idea finisher now lets you convert in territories. And territorial provinces have an additional -2 missionary strength malus. So, if we have a look again at our Mongol Empire here, because that's nice and big. Tag MGE. One of the very controversial changes in the 1.26 patch that came with Dharma was that you can no longer convert in territories. If we check our conversion list here, We can convert these because they're in our states, but all of these can't be converted because they're not a full core and not part of a state. Now we have some state slots open and we could just make things into states and then convert, but if you have a large empire, then that is obviously a big issue. Because you can't convert and your religious unity is going to be pretty crappy. So what we can do now is we can fill our religious ideas, and I've already done that almost to complete. And we look at the last, well, at the completion bonus here. We still get the culture conversion cost reduction, but we also get may convert religion in territories. So if I take this, we should now have a big change to this list. Suddenly all of these can be converted. Well, these can't because we don't have the power, because you see their territory minus 2%. But in theory, if we had enough conversion power, we could. Like this one here, for example, was not convertible before, but now it's just at minus 2. That makes religious ideas a lot more interesting to me if you're playing a large empire. Also, I've been told that religious ideas have many good, what are they called? These things here. Policies. Yes, many good policies, such as 5% morale of armies and 10% siege ability there, together with quality ideas. What else do we see? Strength, religious unity, unrest, 10% morale again, with quantity, 10% morale with maritime. Not that anybody ever takes maritime ideas, but hey. So a bunch of morale ideas. It's not bad. And some things that could help you convert if you want to do more conversions. But the morale, it might be a reason to take religious ideas and keep that unity up. Instead of my usual choice of just always taking humanist if I want to be expanding a lot. So maybe we're going to give that religious idea a shot in the next campaign. Why don't we? Now, what else do we have here? Dhimmi provinces, Dhimmi given provinces. So Dhimmi is a Muslim estate that you can only give provinces that are not of your religion, maybe even not of any Muslim religion, and they prevent you from converting them and give you more money and stuff like that. Now they provide less to the overall religious unity, and providing less sounds negative, but it's actually positive, I think. Because you usually get a negative bonus from religious unity, and getting less of a negative bonus is actually good. So if they're loyal, so over 60% loyalty, they will not take part in your, or provinces owned by the Dhimmi will not reduce your religious unity anymore. That said, in order to even give a province to the Dhimmi, it needs to be part of your states, so you can't really use that to get around the whole issue of not being able to convert outside of your states. So I'm not sure how good this is going to be, but it adds a bit of value to the Dhimmi, which I've not used Dhimmi much, I must admit. And most people I've seen don't use Dhimmi much. Bunch of changes to how global trade can be embraced, so apparently marketplaces and those buildings gave too much boost to global trade, so that was reduced. And then there was a change to how manufacturing and enlightenment spawn, not spawn, but how they spread. First of all, they don't spawn anymore in small provinces, but that is okay, sure. I mean, I guess it's kind of nice that they don't spawn in a manufactory in the middle of nowhere. But what that really did was it reduced the spread. I don't know by how much, but the reduced the spread you can get on continents where the institution did not spawn. So getting manufacturing and enlightenment can both spawn anywhere in the world. So they're not limited to Europe, for example. But it's going to be much harder to actually get them to spread on continents where they did not spawn. So it's even more important to try to spawn these two. Unfortunately, it's really hard to do that because manufacturing spawns on manufactories and enlightenment spawns on universities. So everybody can spawn that. There's going to be a ton of manufactories and universities everywhere, and it's pretty much random where it spawns then. But still, it's supposed to give some more of an imbalance to the world, technological imbalance, and it's certainly going to do that. Depending how big that focus, that reduction in spread is, it could be a big impact or not that big. Then there's a bunch of other stuff going on. A few AI changes here. It's always good to make the AI better, I suppose. Not take unnecessary loans, don't go over your fleet force limit, stuff like that. That seems fine. Interface changes. One thing I wanted to check, let's just do that, is they tease that the ledger now has a search function. And it does. Look at that. We can now search in the ledger for countries, and it keeps our country in there for comparison. Could I check in rivals in there? No, that does not work. But still, this is awesome. Instead of just scrolling, I mean, Magnus in this case was easy, but instead of scrolling through here and then sorting and then scrolling and trying to find the right thing and then realizing that we're on the wrong page and that we want to check Siak's navy and not Siak's army, we would have to go here and then find Siak again, or we could just go Siak and see that their navy is not particularly pronounced. I wonder if that stays around if we... Oh, look at that. Look at that. It stays in there when I switch ledger pages. This is, honestly, this is to me one of the biggest changes. I mean, it's a very easy change, but man, that is great. That's gonna make using the ledger so much easier. And even keeps it on the pages that don't have things to search for. Some ledger pages clearly can't be searched. Province overview, I can't search for provinces. That's kind of so. It's only for things that have countries. I mean, it's a big start. Would be nice to have it for the other pages too. I don't know why I should not be able to search for states and territories, for example. Why do I not have a search field here? But still, that's pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. So that's great. Let's see. What else do we have? A bunch of user modding changes, that doesn't really matter. Decision to form the Mongol Empire, we already looked at that, and we formed it. Restore the Ilkhanate as a march even, interesting. Wait. Can I create the Ilkhanate as my march as the Mongol Empire? No idea, we'll see. Moving capital to St. Petersburg, upgrade its trade center level, that's all nice. Bunch of new ideas, Chernigov, Crimea, and we can have a quick look at those, right? Why not? Why not have a look at them? Let's go and find Chernigov. I think I released those people. Oh, that's Shuvni. Where's Chernigov again? Chernigov. There we go. Your tag is CHR. So we go tag CHR. And then we can have a look at their national ideas. Morale of armies, nice. Regiment cost, okay. That's not just recruitment cost, but also upkeep cost, so that's pretty good money. And then completion is 15% reduced state maintenance, not that great. But 10% morale of armies as a starter is pretty nice. Number extra states, all right, very good right now. Cavalry combat ability, sure. Manpower, 20%. Fort defense, sure. Unrest, not horrible. Toils of True Faith, and local goods produced plus 10%. Very middling set of ideas, I would say. Morale is nice, but not much in combat bonuses to fix that up. The extra states are nice, and there's some money in there. The unrest reduction is very nice, but overall it's not something to write home about, I would say. And the state maintenance reduction, maybe that makes using edicts more interesting, but I don't think 15% reduction is enough to actually do that. So that was Chernigov. Who else do we have? We have the Crimean and Rigan. I can't really check the other two right now, but Crimea and Riga we can do. Crimea is Cry, tag Cry. And let's see here. Missions. I don't really care. I'm looking for ideas. There we go. Crimean ideas. Land leader maneuver, aggressive expansion. Aggressive expansion impact. Okay. It's not core creation cost, but it's not bad. But the finisher's core creation cost. I love core creation cost. But as a finisher, I mean, you have to take a lot of ideas. You have to take 21 ideas. So it's 3 full idea groups. So it's about 1600-ish, I would say, when you complete your national ideas here. So then you can start expanding. I mean, it's not bad. 25% core creation, but you want to have done a lot of expansion. You want to have done a lot of expansion before, and then you still paid for it. Still, not going to complain about core creation cost reduction. 25%, excellent. Cavalry combat ability, again, Domestic trade power, not bad. It's money. Looting speed is... Come on. I mean, sure, I get the flavor and all, but that's pretty lame. Land leader shock is nice. Better leaders. Production efficiency is good money. Construction cost, manpower, recovery speed, pretty bad. And 25% manpower is quite nice. No idea what the theme behind this is supposed to be. A bit of combat help in the beginning, but this cavalry is really not helpful. Then just money stuff. So you're doing smaller raid expansion, and then once you get your extra 25% manpower and the 25% reduced core creation, then you go full ham and expand in around 1600. I guess. I mean, the leaders are nice. +1 maneuver, okay, but +1 shock is good. Still, yeah, also pretty middling. Probably even a bit worse than what we saw from Chernikov, I would say. Although the core creation cost, it probably makes up for many of the flaws in here. Still, I would have preferred some more useful things than looting speed, to be quite honest. Alright, we have then, and who was the other guy? Let's just check. We have Riga, right. I think Riga is just in there because DDR Jake loves Riga. I don't think there's any other reason that Riga got ideas, but hey. Tag rig. This is rigged. Where do we see those rebels? Oh, so a fleet there, of course. Riga, how are our ideas looking? Development cost reduction. Okay, garrison growth is useless. Manpower recovery speed as a finisher. Papal influence. Okay. Trade efficiency, trade power, missionary strength, diplomatic reputation, fort defense, and discipline. I mean, the trade focus is clear. You're in the Hansa, or you should be. You're a trade nation anyway. I guess the development cost, the idea is that you're building up a giant individual one province minor Riga here for a while before you can actually expand. Or something along those lines. And then you have the papal influence and the conversion stuff because you want to be sort of a bastion of Catholicism in, well, these heathen lands over here, I guess. Especially when the Reformation comes, you try to stay Catholic, something like that. I don't know. If you know, tell me in the comments what the point behind that is supposed to be. Maybe that's something to do with Regan history. From a gameplay point of view, this is all over the place. There's a bit of combat here with the discipline finisher. Development cost, I mean, it's not bad. We develop, but when do we develop? Usually when we want to spread an institution. We're in the middle of Europe. We hopefully don't need, well, the middle, but we're in Europe. We hopefully don't need to develop institutions all that often. So that's not great. Or you do it when you're capped on power, and then, who cares? Oh, we are a theocracy. That explains the whole religion thing, I guess. Then you have the religious things and then some trade bonuses. I don't know. Maybe there's something funny you can do with that, flavor-wise. But from a gameplay point of view, I think this is pretty weak. These don't synergize very well. I mean, it's not horrible. It's just the synergy is not very good. All right. So that's that. Can't check the Ilkhanate right now. I don't quite know what dynamic Cossack nations are, so can't check that either. Transoceania is now a slightly different shade of blue. Awesome. It's probably a thing where it was too similar to some neighbor in color, I assume. Or maybe just because of the Mongol Empire color. I don't know. Now here's one. in bug fixes. There's a giant list of bug fixes here, and I'm not going to go through all these. Most of these are small typo changes, fixes, specific events, stuff like that. But this one, apply local autonomy penalty from estate removal after it been removed. English aside, what does that mean? Let's tag to somebody who might have estates, like, I don't know, Poland. Tag Poland. So what I think it might mean is that in our first Dharma playthrough as Mawar, we noticed that if you take away land from a state, now I hope the Poles gave some land to estates. They have. Would or can't be revoked until November 45. I'm just gonna let this game run while I'm talking. I think it's pretty slow at running. I think that must have been my cheating a bit, but we're gonna make it through while I talk. What we noticed was that we know that revoking a province from the clergy now is supposed, from any estate, now is supposed to raise autonomy in that province by 25%. What that did when we tried it in our first Dharma campaign was you take it at the lowest possible autonomy when you have assigned it to an estate, which is 25%. You remove the province, revoke the province, and then it adds 25 to that 25, makes it 50. So whenever you would revoke a province from an estate, it would go up to 50% autonomy, which is huge, which made revoking estates pretty bad. And I feel like what that line of text in there is supposed to mean is that when I revoke this province, it will stay at 25%. So it will remove the estate, go down to its actual autonomy level, which might be 0, and then add 25%, not add the 25% on top of the floor that has been introduced by the estate here. And we're going to see that very soon. What did it say, November? We're going to see in November whether that is true. If it is, then if I revoke this province, it should go down to, well, it should be at less than 50%. If there's 0 real autonomy here, then it would be just 25%. Was it 1st of November? Can I revoke you now? No, 11th of November. Makes sense. There we go. So now I can go and revoke this. Revoke this. Let's do it by hand, sure. Revoke it. Decrease loyalty, blah, 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 blah. Influence. It does not actually say that it will create autonomy. It does say local unrest, which is also new. It does not say autonomy. And actually went to exactly 25% autonomy. Okay, so it stayed at the same autonomy because it was already at 0. That is pretty great. I assume the tooltip would say that it gains some if it was not at 0 already. I don't know that that's true, but I would assume that. So I think that's a great change. It's hidden down there in the bug fix, but it's a very important change. You can now again revoke stuff from your estates. Yes, it causes some unrest, but it does not actually increase the autonomy anymore. So you can give a province to the estates, let it drop down to 0 autonomy, then revoke it, and then let it continue dropping down from 25. Before Dharma, it would go straight to 0 after removing, which is of course better, but at least now you're not punished for giving it to an estate. I like that. Well, that's my brief overview over half an hour of 45 minutes. That's my brief overview over the 1.27 patch. If you like this, why don't you tell me about that in the comments? If I missed something in there that you find to be important, why don't you tell me about that in the comments? And if you find these videos to be completely uninteresting and stupid, why don't you tell me about that in the comments too? Because it's important for me to know. I don't want to sit here do the whole thing and then you guys just don't want to see it. So tell me whether you like this, hit those like buttons if you did, hit that dislike button if you didn't, and of course, if you're not subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button and check out my other content. Thank you guys for watching, see you guys next time!